Hello, welcome to the Ensemble Experience, a podcast series by the Choral Arts Society of Washington, where choir members turn the spotlight on each other. Each episode brings two voices together to share personal stories, memorable moments, and the history they created within our choir. Discover the bonds and experiences that make our choral community unique. Today on the Ensemble, we're joined by a very special someone whose vision helped shape the sound of our ensemble for years. Scott Tucker served as Choral Arts Artistic Director with passion, precision, and deep love. Under his direction, we explored new musical landscapes, built lasting traditions, and grew both as musicians and as we're thrilled to welcome Scott back to reflect on those transformative years and share his insights and stories. Here's Scott's Ensemble Experience.
Oh, what am I currently doing? So I'm currently the artistic director of the Men's Camerata of Washington, the co-artistic director of the Washington Douglas Chorale, and I'm a fill-in radio host at WETA Classical.
What was your role in the organization and how did you first become involved?
Well, I was the artistic director. I succeeded Norman Scribner, who was the founding artistic director. And I got involved. I was at Cornell University as a professor for 17 years. And I came to that point that you come to in your career, where you think, okay, I can stay or I can do something new, And so that's what led me to Cornell in the first place, because I was at a private high school before that. And then I felt like, I didn't want to coast. I had this feeling like you go forward or else you're going backwards, So so I heard I had a former Cornell singer who was in the choral arts, and he told me that Norman was going to retire. So I put my hat in the ring and yada yada yada, and I got the job, which surprised me, but I was really, really pleased. So
Yeah. And then you were the artist director for 12,
I was there for 10 years.
10
And then
years.
I came, and then I stayed on a little bit longer, just in an interim way, before, I think before Jace took the reins temporarily, and now it's Marie.
Yep. And so what's a memorable moment of your time here that has a lasting impact on you?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot in 10 years. It's hard to say one, of course. I think anyone would say that. Um, I think, so I'll mention a couple unless you have time, but,
Keep going. Yeah.
I mean, I think that very, very first, working with Eschenbach on the Beethoven Missa Solemnis was a very impactful and wonderful experience for me. I think he brought so much depth to what he did. And, he's not at all a perfect conductor, but he really, he made that piece make sense to me, a piece that I'd done, on occasions before. So, I really learned a lot from him, just working side by side with him. He was really inspiring to me. And there's a piece I always wanted to do, a big work that I always wanted to do in my lifetime, ever since I was an undergraduate. And that was the Britain War Requiem. And to be able to do that with the National Symphony, with Noseda when he first came, that was a huge, huge experience. But others too. I mean, my last year was amazing, working with Michael Tilson Thomas on the Resurrection Symphony in Mahler, the African American Requiem of Damien Jeter, which I think is a really important work. Getting to premiere that was huge. I mean, and so many, so China Tour was incredible. There's just so many working with Nézet Séguin in the Philadelphia Orchestra, also amazing. So lots of incredible highlights, really.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. The few that I've done of this, everyone's been talking big about the tour. They talked about the Russian '93 tour.
Mhm.
There's been a few discussions on the uh, the China tour as well. Which I was
Yeah.
like, we just love touring.
Well, it's out of the regular. I think that's why.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing that I take away is like this normally does not happen. How did the choir evolve during your time here, and what was some of the bigger changes you witnessed in your time?
During my time, well, probably the biggest development was the chamber singers, which I'm not sure if that's still going, but during my time, we formed a small choir within the choir. Um, that's of course a double-edged thing in terms of uh, I think the overall benefit of that was that it provided us a way to go into small places, to be more flexible, to do repertoire you can't do with a big group. It was a I think it was a wonderful run with that group, and I'm really proud of some of the performances we did and some of the unusual things we did. I can't remember, Joe, if you were there for the DuPont Underground.
That was right before me, but
Yeah.
I remember seeing all the videos and everything. I was like, this was incredible. I was like, why
Yeah,
did
it really was.
I was like,
It
we
was
need to go
just
back.
it was an amazing thing, and
Yeah.
everybody worked so hard to make that happen. So, I think that maybe that was a development that I think was particularly new and different for choral arts when I was there.
Yeah.
Very happy about that.
What was something about working behind the scenes that choir members or audience may have not again gotten to see from their perspective?
Of what I do, well,
Mhm.
I would say I think most people don't really think deeply, probably, about what the artistic director does. I mean, I think if you sort of unthinkingly, maybe people think, we walk in and we rehearse and then we leave again. And, it's like we work for like 2.5 hours a week.
Right.
And, it's just not the case. So there's just so much that goes into a job like that, that, that people don't probably see. Even, sometimes board members don't really understand what
Mm.
happens there. Um, First of all, there's all this, at least for me, I mean, just all the studying that has to happen to bring real quality to a work, to really bring your best to rehearsals and to performance and to prepare something well, especially for somebody like Dudamel or Noseda or whoever. And there's that, but there's this constant reaching out, constant planning, constant looking for collaboration, constant reaching out to others. Of course, there's fundraising too, and other things like that. But there's just a lot. It's much more than a 40-hour week.
Do you think the organization has influenced the local arts community over the years? Or I guess better suited is how do you think the organization has influenced the local arts community over the years?
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly looking back with its 60-year history, starting as it did, I mean, the choral arts very much hitched its star to the National Symphony. But that's really how it started. Um, Norman formed a choir to sing with the National Symphony in a performance in Messiah. I think it was the very first, as I recall, it was the very first thing. And that relationship's been important to the history of choral arts. But, times, things are always changing. Circumstances are always shifting. Culture shifts, of course. So, um, you know, it's up to, you know, always the current leadership to figure out what are the trends now, where do we fit, and how do we, how do we continue to be a vibrant part of the community? I think choral arts always has been had a large footprint in the arts community in Washington because in Norman Scribner's time, those first 48 years, um, it's it was a smaller community then in a lot of ways, and
Yeah.
they had the sort of the three big courses that did a lot of things in the Kennedy Center, and they they were just such a large portion of what people paid attention to. Now it's much more scattered. Nevertheless, because of its history, because of its long-standing traditions, it's going to have a a big impact for a long time, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if that really answers your question, but that's kind of
Yeah. No, I think it's, even as someone who's been looking back at the programs from the 60s till now,
yeah,
it's been like, oh, we were the Norman Scribner Singers and there was 25 people. And that was
yeah,
it. And now
right.
we're over 100 plus consistently every year. And it's just like,
Mhm.
that is just tells us everything. And the amount of choirs in DC is just incredible. How
It's
we are,
mind-boggling.
yeah, we are the choir capital of the world. I'm like, why? Who decided this is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of answered this question already, but it's like, looking back, what was your most proud moment of your time with the choir?
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course, many of the performances were just really standouts, but for me, always, and I think most choral conductors will say this. It's moments in rehearsal that are the most um, that you feel the most proud, that you feel the most resonance with often, because there are these times when it's something, there's just an energy in the room that happens. Everything just clicks. People get it. We all get it. Um, and, music sort of springs up out of, you know, whatever it is that we're doing, some phrase, some page, some section of the work that we're trying to get at. And it goes beyond its technical excellence. It go, which becomes then a given. It goes really into this almost spiritual realm. And I think those are the times that, anybody lives for as a musician.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely see that when I go to like the first rehearsals and the singers are just there with a piece of music and they're just saying the words. They're not
Mhm.
really, like you just said, they're not feeling the music and everything. And then you get to the final rehearsal right before we do it, and the evolution of that is something that I just don't think you can always capture from
Mhm.
one end of the rainbow to the other end, where you're like, wow, like you
Yeah.
got it. You listen to the notes, you listen to the instructions, and how it base of the music evolves from
Yeah.
rehearsal
They
to
make
rehearsal.
it's a process of them owning it and making it their
Yes.
own. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's,
If you could give advice to a current staff member or leadership, what would it be?
well, I would say, I mean, it's easiest, current staff, if they're anything like the staff when I was there, I think you're the only, maybe Drew was there for a moment.
I think it's just me and Drew now. That's the only ones that are
Yeah.
left from your time.
But most of the long-standing staff when I was there were gone, but everybody worked so hard. I mean, it was, April, Angeletta, Karen Frame, Jeff Hart, Jim Zilzel. I mean, everybody was really pulling more than their weight all the time. So, it's hard for me to give advice because it's just like, don't work so hard. Just, take a moment sometimes. It's the first thing. But also, I mean, I think it's important for the whole staff and the board and everybody to remember that, um, always remember that it's about the music. It's so hard to get caught up in, marketing, of course, is incredibly important. Branding,
Hmm.
that's very important. Fundraising, can't live without it. All those things are, vital for the running of an organization. But as soon as an organization loses sight of the fact that it's about the music, it's always about the music. It will ever be about the music. Once it's not about the music, then you're lost.
Yep.
And
Mm.
I guess that's my only advice.
Mm. And then, what do you hope the future holds for Choral Arts, and how would you like to see it continue to grow?
Well, I mean, how it continues to grow, like in what manner, is entirely up to who's there. I mean, always it's a living organism. So I'd say don't cling to the past. Whatever you do, learn from it, honor it as you're doing now, but don't cling to it. You've always got to be looking forward.
Mm.
Um, I'd say that I would love to see Choral Arts continue to increase its footprint in the community, in the nation, the world of choral music. I personally, you know, believe so much in classical music that I don't want to see that go away. I mean, I've always, and even when I arrived, I said, this is our bread and butter is, the choral orchestral major works of Western music. And that's who we've always been. And so that's important, not to lose sight of that as we go forward and think about music of different cultures, think about music of mixing with different mediums, collaborating with different people, all of the other ancillary things that can be done in an organization that's mainly a symphonic choir. Um, that, broaden it, make it even more relevant, broaden it, and et cetera. But, for me, in my time, it was about not losing the core of who we were about.
Mm.
So, I, I would like to see that going, but I wouldn't ever dictate it as now an outsider. It's really up to who's there to determine, what is the culture, what is important, what is the basic mission. Just don't
Right.
lose sight of the fact that it's about the music.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was all my questions, Scott.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah,
It's a
I'm
pleasure.
I'm really glad we didn't go into like Jamula sessions or anything.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you,
Take care.
Scott.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Ensemble Experience. We hoped you enjoyed hearing these incredible stories from our choir members. Now, we'd love for you to experience the magic in person. Join us for our upcoming concert on June 15th at the Kennedy Center Concert Hall. As a special thank you for listening, use promo code POD20 for 20% off your tickets. Please visit choralarts.org/tickets to reserve your seat today. Again, that promo code is POD20, POD20. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the concert.